how do you feel about showing physical attention to your spouse in front of the children? And her answer was, my mother, and her mother was the twin, the ball of fire twin. My mother told us that she and her siblings never saw their parents show any kind of physical love among themselves. But just from the way they spoke to each other and the way they spoke about each other, we knew how much they loved each other. Wow. I love that. I love that. I love it. I thought, wow, that was but I'm gonna tell you something funny. Okay. Like that she said, my husband for sure not. Me, like one single time I walked into shul, he was sitting there, and I just went like that, just like I just did. Later on, he says, please don't do that in public. Okay, I won't do it in public. So I did it one time. We agreed. I agree. It was very slight. Don't forget just to say how much, nothing in public. Anyway, all right, he used to go to New York for Chafaf every year. And
what's Chafaf?
Chafaf is a date. Chafaf is the date when the Rebbe has yahrzeit for his father, and it's also in August. So the Balbatim aren't there. Everybody's on vacation, so he could leave. Mushi, did I illustrate?
Wait, sorry.
The time my husband came home a day earlier.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so I made an illustration to this here.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so we were in the country. It was the end of August. In a very
I also remember
place.
that.
Huh?
When I was in Big Surf Seminary.
When she was in Big Surf Seminary, you wanted her to be the volunteer.
You did one class.
To be my husband. Just stand up like a marble statue, right? Anyway, so he was in New York for Chafaf. And I'm expecting him tomorrow. Okay. My ball of fire comes up and says, now I have to be careful. Now I have to be careful about how I talk, right? You're not listening, okay. So she comes up, Matt, can I have $10? $10. What do you $10 for? Matt, something was funny. I looked out the window. My husband came home a day earlier. And he came, the airport is right near Como. We were in Como, in a summer home. And so he took a taxi, and he needed money to pay for the taxi. But I was expecting him tomorrow. I wasn't expecting him today. Well, I didn't run down the stairs. I flew down the stairs. I ran him. And I did what I never did before, and I never did after. One single time I did it. Not two. One. I ran him. I jumped on him. I threw my arms around his neck. But I didn't just throw my arms around him. As I'm holding him, I'm jumping up and down, screeching like a hyena. And Tati, I'm so happy, Tati, I'm so happy. And as I'm screeching like this and jumping, he stood there like a marble statue. Didn't move a finger. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the taxi driver watching this scene. My kids were standing in a semicircle. They didn't know what was happening. And I'm thinking to myself, stop it. I just kept bubbling out of me. And finally, how long did this last? A minute. Jump up and down like I heard it for a minute. You'll see how long it is. It's like a lifetime. And I thought, and my husband says to me, let me just give the kids the presents. He always brought them back. Things that he would get in Judaicus games or stuff. Always thought of the kids.
It was too interesting.
Let me just give the kids, and then we'll go upstairs. Oh, now I'm going to get it. Okay. He gave the kids their presents. We go upstairs. I didn't get both feet into the room. And he says, I wish I could say it to you in Yiddish. It sounds so much better. But he says, why don't you travel the world over and teach women how to greet their husbands? I don't believe my Chaver playroom come home to such a reception. So why do I tell the girls?
Why?
Why do I tell them? I'll tell you why. When I was thinking of a shidduch, I wanted a Siddish husband, but I wanted a romantic husband. But I wanted a Siddish husband, and I wanted a romantic husband. Well, I understood it was more important to have a Siddish husband, so I opted for a Siddish husband, and I got both. And I want you guys to know that when you're opting for a Siddish husband, you are not denying yourself anything. You are not going to miss things that you think that a romantic husband. Is it important message? I have no compunction about repeating it because he said to me, why don't you travel the world? How many Vaak was voorstellen staat op de welt om leren is wijver niet te maken kunnen zijn zeiden men. Ik bleef dat maar. Ik bleef dat maar hebben That's here, a good joke.
She said she doesn't.
I said, I don't understand it. It gave me goosebumps. You make everybody jealous. Now you have to preach
So go home and treat your husband like the king that he is, and be as sweet to him as you can. You know something? I'm not going to discuss that. I'll tell the girls. Most people aren't bad, mean. I mean, there are some mean, bad people, and there's a whole Gemara Gittin that talks about it. I mean, if there's such a thing as divorce, it's because it is necessary, but it's not the rule. Most people are nice people. Some are nicer, some are less nice. I think that a lot of the way our husbands behave is also a reaction to the way we behave. Okay? I was reading in the Shea newsletter years ago a letter from a Chassidish woman. Obviously, she didn't put her name down. And she wrote that they were married a few years and things were getting like this and da 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 da. Anyway, she went to her mashpia, and then her mashpia asked her a question. Are you the wife you thought you would be? Mm-hmm. When you thought of yourself as a wife, what kind of person did you think you would be? What kind of a wife did you think you would be? She says, and I thought, she says, no. She says, I went home, and I decided, tonight for supper, I'm not going to make what I like. I'm going to think, what would he like for supper? Her husband would come home from work, and after supper, he would like to sit down with some cut-up fruit and just relax. That night, she cut up the fruit and prepared it for him. He should find the fruit there. He had this thing. He couldn't stand when the closet doors would be open. She made sure everything was closed. She sat down, when he sat down to relax, she sat down also. After a couple of days, he realized, he didn't realize it right away, but after a couple of days, he realized the effort that she was making to make him happy. He started to reciprocate. He started to think, what can I do? What can I do to make her happy? This she wrote. There's a letter there in it. Okay? Obviously, there are ups and downs in a relationship. Mm-hmm. Obviously, not everybody's the same, and not the same thing. But, you know, I have a picture in seminary. That one day, you girls always have their programs, meisters Geschäfte. They just come dressed like your roommate. Okay, come dressed like your roommate. I walked into seminary that day with my husband. I was wearing a hat, a surtuk, a white shirt, and a tie, and a gartel. And we walk in, and the door, the wall of this classroom is glass. So when you walk past, everybody sees you. So I'm walking, and the girls, they saw me. They started to screech. They were screaming. And I said, what's the problem? I thought today you dressed like your roommate. I'm dressing like my roommate, okay? Smarten up, just being a... Okay, of course, all the kids wanted to take pictures. The pictures went viral. And what is it, Purim in Milano? etc. Fine. So I was. The following year, I did the same thing, and the receptionist, the secretary, was a girl from the year before. As soon as I walked in, boy, are you a good student. I walked in again. I'll be fine. This year, and I have a picture of it all. You see, I don't do it, and I stopped doing it. I showed it, and one of the girls says to me, "Did you ever try putting your shampoo on your husband?" You know, just saying it shook me. I said, "What? What? I would never, ever betray my husband in such a way. Even if I want to do something crazy, I'm me, and that's me. And he let me what I would do. I would even. How do you even suggest such a thing? It drove me crazy, just the suggestion of it. If you respect the person you love, then you respect them all the way. You don't put aside that respect because it's Purim, or because you want to be funny, or if you want to do something. I wanted to, so I did it on me.